Hey guys, how we doing? Dan Freitag from Foster the People podcast. Today, we've got a new guy on the show here, Bill Hagan. We call him Bill Bacon or Dr. Bill.
That's right.
All right? These guys, let me tell you, let's give them a round of applause, guys. Come on, man. Good job, man. So, gentlemen, you know, it's been one of those years I was telling Josh earlier. You know, we're almost wrapped up this year. Our podcast here has been amazing. We've had probably over 50 guests on this podcast. We keep growing more and more. But you know what it always comes down to is relationships, man. And we had a conversation last time on this, right?
Yes.
And we all struggle from time to time on relationships. We have our highs, we have our lows, we have days we just want to kill ourselves, you know. But the thing about it is I've learned in my 61 years of life that basically it boils down to effective communication skills. And most of the time, we're all weak as human beings with it.
That's
all
right.
right? And on top of that, to add to that, we have high expectations or certain expectations that sometimes we can't live up to that, or we feel our partners or whatever it is not living up to our expectations. And so I know you've all experienced it.
Absolutely.
So let's get Dr. Bill out here to tell us a little about some experience in life you've had. Well, let's back us for a second. It is this time of year, guys. It's Christmas, right?
Yes.
It's the holidays, man. Power to the holidays, man. You know, and it does bring a burden on things where people are spending money.
High
they're
stress.
swiping up that credit card. They got to be with the family. They want things better than it was last year. They don't know if they can do this. So it's high stress. So, Dr. Bill, let me throw that into you on the relationship side for what do you think in holidays? What's your take? What's your experience with that?
Well, I think that it's important for people that are going through, different. There's different things that happen with families and dynamics, whether it's traumas or negativity, or very even positive, or it could even be as far as children being away at college, maybe they're or abroad.
Yep.
And I think it's key number one would be definitely staying in touch, and if you're able to. And if you're in more of a negative situation where it's maybe like a divorce or some sort of like a custody type of battle or whatnot, I think it's important to, number one, try to make sure that you yourself are in a good mindset.
Well, that's the key thing. I mean, you know how it is.
Absolutely.
You're in a good mindset, and all of a sudden, oh, why did you say that? Or,
Yes.
why didn't you say that? Or, wow, the stove is not working. Or,
Right.
hey, the kids are acting up. Or, the dog got hit by the car. It's
Right.
things in our environment that we have no control, but we have control on how we respond to them.
Correct.
And that's the problem. And I know myself, many times when you're pressured, and instead of saying something calm and relaxing, you're quick to snap at something. I did it to my wife last night, man.
That's what happens.
I'm like, I come home, and she goes, you coming home for dinner? I'm like, no, I had things to do because I told you I was up here, And she had leftover meatloaf, and I'm like, I want freaking meatloaf. You just made it last night. I said, could you put a little effort into it? And I'm like, oh, shit.
Right.
But she didn't like that, and I didn't like that. So I said my thing. She said everything. I kept working, and that was it. But
Yeah, I would say, here's the thing. I think during this time, and you have this set time of the year where the expectations of what we should all do is amplified no other time. And the amplification, it's amplified by the fact that we need to buy so many gifts.
true.
Right? We need to travel. Should we go see this side of the family? Should we go see this side of the family?
Right.
Do I take time off? So when I look at it, it really is a great segue into talk about relationships, because where the discord comes is when there are unmet expectations.
Amen.
Or expectations that have not been communicated.
Effectively.
Right? And, I think in this day and age, we're dealing with the dynamic of the male mindset and the female mindset. Right?
You sure about that? Because there's so many transgenders, so many bouncers, so many
right. Who are they? They're
Depends
they.
on who you are today.
Right. They, them, thus, us. Right. But when
Let's get that correct now.
yes, when you think about the dynamic of a relationship, you're dealing with an emotional, what I call caretaking individual in a woman.
Sure.
You're thinking about, when you think about a man, you think about a logic, a fact-based, right, non-nurturing, but provider. That's our way of nurturing.
I agree
right?
with that.
At the end of the day, as a father, we feel like we've got to create a safe, right, environment for everybody in the family. And I think it becomes very difficult in these times in the way that people communicate. Because, guys, if you think about it, I'll ask you guys this question: what's the number one need of a man? What do you think? What do you think it is? Dan?
Probably freaking respect and attaboys, you know, saying I appreciate you.
Right,
'Cause I feel
appreciation.
like most of the time, that's what I lack in the most, just in general speaking. It's like I keep climbing to the top, nobody goes, hey man, good job. Hey,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm really proud of what you did.
Attaboys.
Nobody, nobody says it. It's the attaboy.
Couple pats on the back,
Yeah,
you know.
everyone's another kick in the nuts all the time.
Right,
you know,
right.
just like I'm thankful that you do this for us.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
What do you think, Bill?
Yeah, I agree with that 100% because I think men naturally, I mean, the way we were designed was to be the providers. I mean, if you go all the way back to, you know, if you want to say caveman, all the way up through, you know, the centuries and centuries of mankind, men were, even 100 years ago, it was the man's job to be the provider, the breadwinner and whatnot. And I'm not saying in today's environment that it has to be that way. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is it's naturally in our genetics to be the providers or to be the one that protects,
Right.
And there's women out there that do that too, and they're good at it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
so I'm not knocking the women
Right.
that do that. Or, you know, there are lots of single moms that they provide, they work hard, they work
Oh,
2-3
yeah.
jobs, and that's awesome. You know, 100%. You know, so I think when it relates back to like during the holidays and whatnot, like David said, I think at least here, even in America, as a society, we focus so much on the materialistic, the materialism. You know, I have to have all the gifts. I have to have my kids. I don't want to. We as men don't want to put our families, make them feel bad. We don't want to put anybody down.
No.
You know, and say, you know, you don't want your kids to wake up Christmas morning and there's nothing under the tree.
Yeah, definitely not.
You know, who wants to? I have a 5-year-old. Who wants to explain that Santa didn't make it to your house?
Well, I mean, that's the other thing. Then you go to
problem.
some of these other people, like I know I have some employees that don't celebrate Christmas.
Sure.
And then I go to myself, because the older I get, because my kids have gone away, and my parents have pretty much gone. I mean, it's pretty much just my wife and a couple brothers, you know, we're
Right.
going to be left at the fry tags. But I don't know. I look at it in the sense that a lot of us think that just one day we have to celebrate life.
Right.
We have to celebrate that you're part of my family, that I love you, that I want the best for you. Why can't we do it on January 4th
Right.
or July 12th or September 19th?
Right.
It's like, okay, they say it's because of the birth of Jesus,
Right.
all right? But were you back then? None of us were back then.
Right.
And I got nothing against the Bible, but I'll be honest. How do you know that's totally correct?
It's
That they were saying like Thanksgiving
Right.
It's
was in
September.
September.
Yeah, it was September.
Okay, so
Yeah,
why are we
yeah.
celebrating that in November?
Well, and they even say that if you actually go back to the Jewish, you know, that December 25th was not even the day that
It wasn't.
that Jesus
It was-
was
it
born.
was-
So it's, you know,
it's-
where did that come from? That came from a German American, I think.
Well, you know what I
German
think it
American-
came from? Hallmark.
Sure.
So here,
Walmart, Hallmark,
right.
friggin' any retailer.
so here,
I think
here-
Toys R Us had some stake
Yeah,
in
you're
on that
probably
too.
right, yeah.
So here's one of the things. I asked you gentlemen, I said, so what's the number one need of a man? Number one need of a man is to be needed,
That's right.
right? And it
I don't need to be freaking needed.
right.
What the hell are you talking
but it
about?
encompasses
No, you're right,
all
you're
the
right.
things that you said.
You're right, you're totally right.
So at the end of the day, so what caused our feeling as men to not be needed? The roles
Women.
women. No, but here's the thing.
Kids,
Right.
jobs,
Life.
freaking bills,
Life.
freaking government.
That's right.
Freaking cops giving us tickets for driving down the road. 'Cause I need to go fast, but no, you can't do that.
Sure. Sure.
It's called constrictions of what we do.
Yeah, and so when you really look at what has happened is the roles have been blurred, right? Because at the end of the day, a woman can be with a man. He can do very well for himself in providing for the family, put a nice nest egg away. And at the end of the day, she can leave, right? And take half of what you've amassed as a family.
Hey, man, I've been down that road, brother.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've been down that road. It cost me the one prize. This one, it cost me like almost $1 million.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was insane. It was completely insane. And then I go to myself, okay, well, dumbass, you're the one that got involved.
Yeah.
You're the one that didn't sign the prenup. But, I mean, I want to look at this when I think us men that we're all here. I think we should take it for men out in our audience right now. There's a lot of dads out there, and I'm not trying to throw anybody at the bus, but they don't look at the factor that this time of year is to be blessed by what you have, to be thankful for the small things, having a roof over your head, food in your stomach. If you're not with your kid, I don't know why the hell you're not, unless you have some kind of reason you can't be there. All right, and if you can't be there, make another effort to be there.
Right.
But there's a lot of young and old people, they're dads in general, and I'm not trying to throw us underneath the bus,
Right.
but we don't want that responsibility taking care of the kid. The mom's always been there. Now, granted, I know a few ladies that should have never had kids.
Yeah. Facts.
Okay, and us
Sure.
men have fought the good fight, but I'm gonna go straight up with you. I know a lot of guys that weren't true fathers.
Yeah.
And to me, a true father is not just being a sperm donor.
That's right.
It's
I had one
someone
of
being
those.
there and leading and educating and mentoring and giving love and showing people stuff.
Showing a man
Yeah.
how to be a man. So,
Exactly.
and part of the challenge is we've come across this environment where, at the end of the day, where we have mothers, like my situation,
Yep.
raising boys.
Yep.
Right.
I'll never know what it's like to be a woman.
So
My-
that's what I heard. It was on Facebook.
But
What
my
we
mom.
do with that purse the other night? No.
Listen to you. So, but my mother has never been a man.
Yeah.
There, and I'll tell you, there's a quick synopsis. There's a woman who lived as a man for a year, did a TED talk. Throughout the process, at the end of that year, she killed herself. Right. So, I'll top it off with this. Right. So if you think there's a great song by Dak and he talks about it, and this is what I think men are feeling today. If you think about between animals, children, and women, they all get unconditional love.
Most of them do. I mean, a few dogs. get
But you know what I'm saying. But do men? We don't.
I get unconditional. It's called me. I love me.
Me.
Self-love.
I love me. I don't need unconditional. I got me. I'm
Yeah.
a narcissist, as they so-called say, because
Yeah.
I love me.
Me, yeah.
I don't need anybody to love me.
Right.
You can't love you. You can't. If you don't love you, you can't love nobody else.
They'll say, if you don't love yourself, who can you
You
love?
love.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly. But I just think that it's we're living in a time where, like I think Bill was talking about it, is we try to define love with material things that we provide, right?
Amen.
The more that we give, you think the more that we get, and I think it's not that finite. We're not pouring into our kids like we used to because we're trying to make a living,
Yeah.
right? And you
I
know,
mean, the economy's rough, too.
The demands of the day-to-day are different, I think,
It is.
than they were 10 years ago, even 15 years
10,
ago. You know,
Agreed.
it's hard today, especially with, you know, the divorce rates are so high. I mean, it's what, 70% now? It's
Yeah,
insane.
well-
Even among the religious crowd, the Christians, they say, who are, you know, brought up to you know, no divorce, right?
Right.
It's 70%. And so what happens is you have, you know, the demands that are on the single parents or the demands that are on the children even. I mean, how many kids, you know, come home and mom or dad or whatnot aren't home till later at night? I mean,
Yep.
you know, we growing up in the 80s and in 70s and 80s, you know, you had
Latchkey kids.
latchkey kids,
Yeah.
correct.
Yep.
And I mean, you see it now And these kids with their phones, whatever, and they're at home taking care of themselves, Uber, calling Grubhub or calling these companies to order food out because somebody's not there to cook dinner for them.
Yeah, but you just said the key word there that we didn't have then that
Right.
they have.
Right.
I think, with all due respect to the internet and cell phones, the internet's changed the kids sort of in a bad way, but
Correct.
also in a good way.
Sure.
I mean, when we were growing up, we've had this conversation before. You wanted to learn something, guess what? We'll go to the freaking
Library.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go to Dewey Decimal System, pull out the box, try
Right.
to walk 500 miles,
Yeah.
Right.
find that book,
Look,
and 5,000 shows.
Now
it's
everything's right
boop,
here
beep,
on
beep.
this,
Yeah, I mean,
you
it's
know?
right there. You
Right.
got, the problem is, we got so much information
Information.
that
Right.
nobody even knows. Is it correct? Is it true?
Right.
It
That's-
could be. This
that's
stuff
right.
is good. No, this is bad. This is good. And you have this conflict, and it's like,
Right.
you don't know who to believe.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, especially look at the media for the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
You know, the people that you thought were the top people, you come to find they're shady, and that they had higher powers tell them that you have to preach this gospel word on this certain way of living.
That's why they call it a teleprompter.
Yeah.
They were prompted to say what the people that own the place wanted them to say.
That's right.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
the talking heads.
You know, but I mean, yeah, I've realized as the older I get, okay, I love the holidays. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
You know, the holidays are sweet. I like putting on things. I like spending time. But why can't we take that moment and, like I said, put it in our everyday lives?
Right.
Why do we have to celebrate just on Christmas Day?
Why is it an event?
Yeah.
Right.
I
It
mean,
doesn't have to be an event. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, but we were talking about that over Thanksgiving. You know, we let the outside elements determine our level of love, caring, and giving,
true.
right? Rather than every day is Christmas.
It is, yeah.
The gift is we woke up.
Exactly, that's it.
We woke up. That was the gift.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, like I told you before many times, every single morning religiously, I get up. Before I get my coffee, I get up, stagger out, man. I got fucking broken back here.
Right.
And we go, good Lord, thank you very much for giving me this day. Please allow me to embrace what I have. I'm grateful for you giving me my friends, my family, my wife, my dog, my house.
Right.
You know, it's like that 5 minutes of gratitude of just being appreciative that you're on
Right.
this world.
But that is such a critical thing, right? It's when you have and provide and acknowledge the gratitude and the gratefulness that you have, it changes your attitude. What is happening, it goes back to the other word we're talking about, is we expect to have these things.
Right.
Because they put those things out there in the public domain that if you go to college, you should get a job. If you do this, you should get that.
Right.
And it's not that sequential.
No.
You know, all of us had to work for it. And it's really our fault.
It is.
I take responsibility.
I'm gonna say entitlement.
It is totally entitlement.
But you know what it is? I think it goes back to Christmas. Instead of like your parents, Uncle Johnny brought you over 10 gifts, and Susie brought
Yes.
stockings,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
And the
they're-
thing about us, we as parents go, well, you know, our parents, they didn't have it off as well as we have it. Which they really did. The problem is, you know what it is? We want to give that love.
Right.
But we think giving the love is giving
Give us some
material
things.
Right.
Yes.
Giving material things. And now when the kid comes home, oh, Daddy, did you bring me home a gift?
Yeah, we set the expectation.
Yeah.
It's interesting you say that. I remember that my wife and I were living in Georgia, and we had literally gifts that went from the corner of our family room almost to the door.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Our kids were 3 and 4,
yeah.
and I remember that the lion's share of those gifts came from Santa.
Yeah.
And in that moment, it hit me. And here's what I said. I swear on everything that's holy. I said, kids, I've got to share something with you, right? You know why Santa knows what you're doing every day? You know why we know when you've been naughty or nice, right? I said, because it's not a white guy at the store. It's the big fat black guy, your daddy, who knows exactly
Come
what's
on now, you can't say now. No, why did they have to be a white guy? Seriously, why is Santa Claus a white guy? And then I sort of got offended. I got older. Why is there a black guy out there?
Yeah.
You know, why does it have to be a colored person?
Right.
Why does it have to be a fat guy in a suit? Why do we have to root off the red-nosed
Right
reindeer?
there, right. Well, it's symbolism, right? And it's like here's the thing. I wanted them to understand, and it was hell because They went out like kids do, told their parents what I told them, and I got knocks on the doors. You ruined Christmas. I said, no, what I chose to do is stop telling a story to my kids about the fact that there was somebody else doing, just like Tooth Fairy. We had that conversation as a
Tooth Fairy, man.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm missing a tooth. So at the end of the day, I was like, it ain't the Tooth Fairy. It's Daddy.
But remember when we were girls, we got a quarter, we got a nickel. They got maybe
$20
$1.
they're getting $20
it's
now.
20
a
bucks.
ton. If it's
Yeah.
a big one, man, you get 50 for that, man. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
I saw a funny video online where a kid yells down to his father who's in the kitchen. He says, "Dad, the Tooth Fairy left me $120." He goes, "No, she didn't. She left you $10 or $20." He goes, "No, I'm telling you, it's right here." He goes, "Let me see it." He goes, "Wait a minute, you do have two. Those are hundreds." And he runs to his wallet. And he says, "The Tooth Fairy was out drinking last night, son."
yeah, that's the worst. I mean, that was the worst. Usually before Christmas, we'll go out and party, you know what I'm saying? And you're like staggering, trying to put all these presents down.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of
Put
times
together
you
a
fall
bag,
out.
do
What
this
the
stuff.
hell's going on down
Right,
here?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really interesting that this day, right? One, as we said earlier in the set, is that it wasn't the day that Jesus was born because they were shepherds.
Right.
They wouldn't have been where they were, right? And the reality is, we celebrate that day. It's really called Saturnella, and we celebrate that day because it's the day that the sun goes down, right? And for 3 months, and it's funny because we're talking about a biblical day in the Bible. It says, Jeremiah 10. You can look, folks. You can look it up. Do not go into the forest and cut down a tree and lace it with silver and gold. So these were pagan activities they did to, that they were looking for a fruitful spring.
Yeah.
That is really the genesis of what happened in that day.
We'll see, but like I said, I think it goes back to Hallmark.
It is.
Make that money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, it
Hallmark,
really is.
that's what it was about.
So guys, all right, so we talked a little bit on Thanksgiving about this. What is your norm? Because like I said, one of my friends, good friends of mine, he doesn't celebrate. Well, I got a couple friends. They're Jewish, and they have the
Hanukkah.
And then the other one,
Kwanzaa.
I don't even know what he does, but it's like, nothing I'm really, every time I go, no, I don't do that. Don't do that. No, I don't do that either.
Sure.
Like, what do, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so what's your norm?
Here's what I think. I think what, you talked about the internet, you talked about the access to information, the access to knowledge. I think what happens is people understand that it has become commercialized,
Amen.
right? It's an event,
Yeah, it is.
right?
Yeah.
And I think people, especially with the economic downturn that we're in and are about to come out of, I think it puts an undue stress on people to do it, and they're just like, I'm not going to do that, nor do I want to spoil my kids,
Yeah.
right? It's about what you said. When we get back to the old traditions, it was more about the family getting together,
Exactly.
right? It wasn't about the number of presents.
No.
And I'm going to outdo last year's number
Yeah.
of presents,
Yeah.
right? And the presents got bigger.
Yep.
I think it's really
More
about
expensive.
and more expensive, 100%. And it's really, for me, it's really about that time that we can spend together,
Yeah.
right? And really, and do we come together in the right mindset to go, you know what? It's a blessing that we all got here together today, safely. Like when you wake up in the morning,
Yep.
right? We take for granted that we wake up.
Yeah, that's it.
It ain't no guarantee.
Well, I mean, you might wake up, but you might wake up with one eye missing.
Yeah, or
You
something.
can't see out your eye. You can't
Right.
hear.
Can't
you
walk.
Can't smell.
Right,
You
yes.
can't touch. I mean,
Yes.
it's
Right.
just little things that.
Those
like I
are
said.
the gifts,
Yes.
right? We have gotten so far into this materialistic way of validating who we are and what success is, and really success is about a healthy relationship with those that we love and those that we come in contact with.
True.
Right? And in the spirit of that, as we talked, earlier, these two gentlemen before today came together
Yeah.
where you put
Yeah.
you were willing, and this is
Yep.
Christmas.
Yep.
That was Christmas when
That's
you
true.
Yeah.
put yourself out there to help somebody you didn't know.
Yep.
You were going to leverage your business acumen to help people. And to me, that is what, if you think about Christ,
Yeah.
it was, you guys probably remember the day where it used to be Xmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
It still is in some people's minds and in their worlds, you know, and that's becoming a contentious moment.
Yeah, and we forget the reason for the season.
Right.
Well,
Right.
that's complete. I mean, look, they're starting selling stuff. What in August?
Yes.
Go to Walmart. There's all kind of Christmas trees up in the end of August. You know, before we
Yeah.
even get to Thanksgiving, so they're selling
Well, that's
Christmas
right.
stuff.
Yeah. it's-
CVS. I mean, you know, the thing that gets me about our journey, you know, was like I said when you talked about the restaurant you guys had.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very passionate about going out to business when you first go in there, just to see what you're about.
Yeah, sure.
I do have a little bit of alternative motive because you need fire protection.
Yeah.
Right.
But I like to see who my neighbors are.
Well, right.
You know, and then when I see somebody out there struggling, and I see a lot of businesses out there they really shouldn't even opened up.
Right.
All right, and from a fire standpoint, I see business come up, drop down, come up, go out of business, come up, go out of business all the time. And it's
Absolutely.
like you're spending your heart, your soul, your time, your money in this.
Energy, effort.
And the
Right.
problem I feel like is that most business, I won't say owners, but operators,
Yeah.
don't take the steps to properly plan out the game plan.
Right.
Okay, it's like the place you had, like I said, you wanted the snow gates. We had no clue what that was.
Yeah, nobody knew
We
what
had
it
no
was.
idea. Then the next guy came in, he modernized the whole place. I mean, it looks gorgeous in there.
Right.
I give him a high five. But once again, he's got a coffee shop. He's got a little dinky sign like this big as his coffee.
Right.
The sign is brown wood. It's cool looking.
Yeah.
But it says Defactor Cafe.
Yeah.
Why didn't it just say, like you said,
Coffee.
Coffee, or what was the name? Is the Harbor Bluffs or something?
I had with the original name of the idea before we opened, it was going to be called Boathouse Coffee.
Yeah, now see, that to me is an awesome
Well, we're
name.
2 blocks from the
Yeah,
beach.
exactly.
We're in an area. It was going to be a rustic, nautical theme, and it went sideways.
Well, the problem is, okay, let's be honest. If I was going to go open up a coffee shop, what's the first thing I would do? Go see what my competitors are.
Sure, absolutely.
See how they have it set up. Visit them. Figure out what their weaknesses are.
Right, and
And
capitalize
then
on that.
capitalize on that and do almost a duplicate process, but
That's
a
right.
little bit different.
That's right.
All right?
Tweak
and the
it.
thing about it is, like I said, starting next year, just for everybody to know, our division of the business, I don't want to say education or, we got a new program that we're working on here, all right? Basically what it is we're going to get really serious and going out and finding business owners that want to be part of the podcast, want to be part of the networking,
Yeah.
want us to help them grow. They're going to help us grow. We're going to get to know more and more people. And you know how it is. The more you network, the more business you get.
Absolutely.
Network defines
Right.
your net worth.
Yeah. And the thing about it is we've got so much avenues we got, but we can, like I said, on the podcast, all right, we can get them in here and they can preach their story and we can edit it down to a video they can promote their stuff on. And like I said, we got the fire protection with every single business out there
Yeah,
has to have.
absolutely.
And then, like I said, on the consultant side, we want everybody to thrive. I don't want any business to go in there and go, wow, man, I can't pay the bills.
Right.
That's the
All right.
gift.
Yeah.
That is the gift. And here's the thing. We all have our own gifts. It is our duty and responsibility to go share our gifts. And if you think about, you go back to our forefathers, right? There was kind of a bartering system,
True.
right? And that was a gift.
Yep.
If you had somebody that could make cheese, you had somebody that had chickens, you had somebody that had beef,
Yep.
right? This currency system has kind of, pulled us apart and let the almighty dollar dictate what we do or what we don't do in our relationships.
I give you that, but then I've seen people where my uncle lives in Mexico, has got nothing. They're living on dirt floor shacks.
Yeah.
They're happy as hell. We're sitting around, we live in millionaires. We live with the mates.
We're worried about losing the money.
We're just bitching about, I couldn't get the maid to come out here and do this. I couldn't get the chauffeur to
Yes.
move the vehicle. I couldn't get them to clean my car.
Yeah.
Come
Right.
on, man. We got to step back and look at the basics of what we have.
Right.
I mean, I look at my father who just turned 95.
Wow, that's a
Wow,
blessing.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
it's a real blessing.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
And the man still gets around. He's got it together. I don't know if I want to see it behind the wheel of a car, but I
Right.
mean, the man does
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, but think of his lifestyle. You know, from what Vietnam, maybe
What
World
he's
War II.
seen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Think about what
Yeah,
he's
that's what I'm saying.
seen.
All the changes.
Yeah.
All right, so think about it. I don't know, we're all in our late 50s, 60s, right? What's it going to be like in 30? Let's say you go to 95. What's our world going to be like at 95?
Oh, man.
What is the kids that are 15, 20 years? What's it going to be
We
when
never
they're
have
at
to,
95?
They told us with Wally, we never have to leave our chair. Everybody brings stuff to us, and we were fat, dumb, and
It's
happy.
already there right
Yeah,
now,
exactly.
man. It's
Exactly.
already there now.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting part about where we are we better than our forefathers, or are we less connected? I think we're less connected, right?
I think it's a little bit of both. We're less connected family-wise, but we're more connected entertainment and education and knowledge.
Yeah,
Right,
but if you match that up and pair that against values,
Right.
it's different. So to me, it goes back to what we were saying earlier about that there's disorder because there is no order. We think about this, gentlemen. Do you understand how how women's libs started and why?
Probably gonna be pissed off one woman one time.
No, you know, Bill.
No, I don't know.
Here, this is facts. I'm
We
gonna
pissed her off and said, "No, I'm not taking this crap
No,
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 more.
I'm-
We're not going to take it."
Right. Burning the bra. But here's the thing. It was started by the Rockefellers. And here's why.
All right.
Because we were talking about latchkey kids, because I was one of them, right?
Oh, you were a latchkey? You
Absolutely.
sort of looked like that. Have I seen you in a milk box?
Exactly. No, it's because, think about it. If the woman's at home and the man's at work, how many incomes can you tax? One.
One.
Yeah.
If you put the woman to work, how many incomes can you tax?
Two.
Two.
But see, you put the kids to work too. Now you get 3, 4, 5.
But the whole but the whole that was a created thing to create greater amount of
True.
tax accumulation
Yeah.
for those that run the world. And it has been, I think, the demise of the family because what we hear from our kids today, what we hear from our wives sometime today, what we feel about is that we're not present because we're trying to juggle so much to make so much,
Yep.
right?
Well, you have to because the government's charging us so damn much.
Agreed. So
Taxes,
this is-
insurance, gas prices, food costs, housing.
Yeah.
Should I keep going on?
Right.
but
Sure.
we had this conversation this morning in terms of how we engage with clients, and it really you have nailed it. They have made it so that you have to work, right? And this environment was not designed to create workers. It shouldn't be. Does anyone know what the word job really stands for? JOB?
Yeah, just above broke.
Just over broke.
Yep.
Right? So when you start to understand that where we are is designed, it didn't just happen. It's just like this cup here. Somebody designed it. It was created to create the disparate level of wealth that we have today. Right? I mean, we have more millionaires, which are really the middle class people.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
But America has the most billionaires, and Africa has the most trillionaires
Why is that now?
because they have the assets to back it.
Yeah.
They own the gold. They own all the precious
What about
minerals.
Dubai, man?
The richest people on the planet come from the richest soil on the planet,
Really?
which is Africa. They don't. You never see that talked about.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
You don't,
You're
you
always
don't.
thinking we're gonna go after lions and giraffes. And,
That's what they want you to think.
Right.
That ain't what's happening. They got pastors
All
over
right,
there.
so where's this place at? I gotta get rich. Man.
Right, exactly. You ready to
I'm
go?
looking for the gold digger in me, man.
Hey,
I'm 60. It's time
I know a
for me
little
to
bit
be
about
digger.
gold. I know a little bit about gold. But I think it's the chase, right? That it's almost like the drug addict. Once you get that initial high,
Right.
it's the constant chase of that high,
Right.
right? And that is what they got us after. They got us on that treadmill to chase that more. We need more. We need more. And our parents Dude, you think about, dude, I had a clothesline in my basement.
Yeah.
I remember when we got our first dryer. I thought I'm
Nice
like,
game.
I was telling the
you
boys
made
down the
it.
street, we rich, right? We got a dryer, dude. It's don't have to go on a clothesline with pins or go out in the backyard. It's our values have eroded to the degree that it's about how much you amass. It's not the people that you put your arms around and create love, care, and concern for.
Amen. I give you 110, but don't you agree with me also? A lot of the problems in today's size, people don't understand money.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
many
absolutely.
people spend more than what they make.
Right.
Okay, it's created.
Why
that
is
way.
that though?
Because our environment has created. Oh, everything is add here, add this, add this, add. You gotta have this. You gotta be better than the Joes next door.
Right.
Do you think that people are looking to feel good, right? It's a high, right? It's like I go think about it. It's kind of like Christmas, the Christmas experience of opening a gift. At some points, there's so much that the kids just are opening the boxes. And I remember our little kids; they were more intrigued with having the boxes than what was in them.
Yeah.
You know.
So true.
Yeah, it's that we are chasing the material high. It has become a drug in society. More has taken us beyond the communication and engagement. Kids now, our kids now I have a 23-year-old who lives with us. He comes in, he goes in his room, and he locks into Xbox.
Oh yeah. But now let me ask a question: is that because maybe you as a parent allow that to be that way?
100%.
So what would you do to correct? I mean, let's be honest. If I could go back 15 years, I'd probably make a lot of changes. But would it really be more of an impact? I don't know.
Right.
You know, your parenting skills, you think at the moment we're doing the best we can.
Sure.
But then in hindsight, we're going, damn, if I would have not gave her that or not said this, or maybe looked at it from this perspective, you're like, damn, they don't ever give you a book. Now, this is the proper guide on how to raise your kid. You
Sure.
can't do that. There's
No.
no book like that.
Well, I think society also has a lot to play into it too, because it's not just I think people beat themselves up and say, "Oh, well, I messed up," or "I didn't do this," or "If I would have done this and that." I think a lot of it,
Lost it.
comes into a lot of.
Hands up. Hands up.
Toss it.
He's passing love notes to me, man. Ooh, kill the bug.
But a lot of it comes back to society, because if you aren't at home raising your kids, somebody is.
Yes.
True.
Somebody's raising your kids.
Okay, but let's think about all the millionaire actors and stuff.
Sure.
Someone's raising their kids. I mean,
Sure.
maybe they might be better than we could raise them.
Or,
I mean,
right.
I'm not saying I don't think.
But there's
the
influence
key thing is
being
balance.
yeah, it's a balance, but the children today are being influenced, and it's worse today than when we were all growing up,
Yeah.
because we have the media, not media,
Access.
the access to
Yeah.
cell phones, internet. We didn't have that growing up when we grew up. So, if I think there's an importance for parents today, to really have their thumb on the pulse of what's
Amen.
going on in their kids' lives, a lot more than what the majority of them do, sadly.
Well, I mean, let's
because it's I think a lot of people, they drop the kids off at school, or the kids go to school in the morning, they're there all day, they're like, oh, it's is it really the school or the teacher's job to raise your family and raise your
Well,
kids?
you don't want to go there because
See
my
what I mean?
wife's a teacher. And
Sure.
she'll tell you.
My
all
mom was a
kinds of
teacher for
stories.
30 years. I get it,
Man.
She had 2 boys to raise. I mean, so
I mean, I just look at it from many different standards. Let's be honest. There's no really way except for don't abuse your kids, respect them, love them. But your love and my love and his love
And your respect.
that.
So think about it. Respect is different,
yeah.
right? You and I, maybe not you, we came from the spirit of the rod, spoil the child.
I did
yeah.
too.
Yeah, so I was Bible based.
My father was a pastor.
right.
Yeah, well, see, that's one that you guys got me because there was no religion in my family. So,
Sure.
oh, it's Christmas time. Let's go to church. Oh, it's
Right,
sure.
you know.
What do you call them? You have a name for them.
Creasters.
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 Yeah.
Christmas
Christian-
and Easter.
That's exactly what it was. Power to that.
That's right.
You know, 'cause my mother goes, "Oh, your father's not going to church." Not
Right.
going to church. And then when I actually sort of like jump fence when I went to Dave Ramsey, I
Oh,
was
yeah, the
dabbling
money
in it,
system.
Yeah.
dabbing it out. I got involved in there. Did the 2 weeks with him. That was a fantastic journey of financial coaching and stuff.
Sure.
And, they preached a lot of it. And I started to open the light even more, even though I'll tell you a good story. You'll get a kick out of this one. I was about 14, 15 years old, couldn't get my shit together. My aunt and uncle lived up in Long Island, New York, and they were the Bible thumpers.
Yep.
Everything was about Jesus.
Sure.
We live for Jesus, we say Jesus, we talk Jesus, we smell Jesus, we eat Jesus, everything was Jesus,
Right.
all right?
Yeah.
And my parents were like, wow, this guy's trouble. We need some help. So big old Uncle Johnny, like Jackie Gleason, I calm down and I take care of him. I'll bring him up here to New York and I'll make that boy a sacrifice. I'll say that. So they said, okay. So I said, all right, I'll tempt it. So on the way up from Florida, bless
Bless
you,
you.
Thank you.
from Florida to all the way up to New York is, oh, you know why you're here, Des? Because Jesus loves you. And that's all the music. Jesus loves you, Jesus saved you. Here, you know, I'm going, oh my God, this is going to be really freaking bad.
Right,
All
right.
right, so that's when it really, they had to go to live in the house before we ate,
Say the
before we
blessing.
got up, before we had a cup of coffee. You sit
Right.
down with my aunt and have Bible thumping classes. Before you ate, you had to give the blessing. I mean, I'm like, wow.
It made an
You know?
impact. Because you know
well,
what?
well,
when
no.
you wake up, what do?
Well, I do, but it sort of took me the opposite direction.
Okay.
Because it was embedded in my head for like
Yeah,
3-4
beat
months.
into you.
And finally,
Yeah.
my uncle goes, boy, you need to go back home to your parents. Because I wasn't getting nowhere fast, you know. They were like, man, we tried. This kid ain't gonna freaking change.
He
you
gonna
know?
break.
Right.
You
And
can't
so-
break him.
And so finally I got away from it. Like I said, I think it was just after years and people coming across my path. I think honestly, I didn't start seeing the true colors until probably I was in my 40s when I had my daughter.
Yeah.
And I started realizing there's a higher power out there that's
Got to be.
controlling
Right.
what we do and what we believe in, how we see things. Like our coincidence of getting together,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what's just
Divinely
happened?
ordained.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just a higher power.
Sure.
Nothing can come
Yeah.
from nothing.
I just
Something
want to give a
can't come from
shout out
nowhere.
here to Carol, man. Carol out here, she just came, she's coming from the network. And Carol, woo!
Hey, Carol.
I said, her and I, we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
And you know where I met her up? It
In
was
New York.
a John's, I think it was John's Fest. They had a seafood festival. And her and at the time, her husband, I believe at the time, they were sitting at the VFW partying up. We were all partying up. And next thing I know, we started talking about mortgages and stuff. And I'm like, wow. And then we sort of faded a little bit. We kept popping to each other. And now we're like really close again, man. We've been like really hanging out, having a great time, man. So, I mean, God works in mysterious ways.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It really
I think
does.
God is a sense of humor. God,
Look at me. I'm definitely a sense of humor.
No, but it's like, you know, I always
What? Is Ponder?
I always think that when we think we've got it figured out,
Yeah.
it throws us a little curveball to go, you know who's really in charge? It ain't you.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you something, guys. Like, we just had a response from Chris on there. Hey, Chris, thank you very much for responding to us. Chris and I have only known each other a short time. All right, but he's from California, and he got it with this woman named Sharon, who has life as a donation. And what she does is, for the last like decade, she's been going out and promoting, freaking helping the homeless and feeding people. And she hooked up with him because she was also into selling toners, and it's sort of like in your guys' business.
Is her name?
Up
What's her
that
name? Is her name Sharon Edwards?
Yeah, yeah.
I know Sharon Edwards.
Yeah,
She lives in my
yes.
neighborhood. I just talked to her the
That's
other
what I'm
day.
saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's crazy.
Dude, right here. Obey
Yeah.
supplies, okay?
Yeah.
You know, okay, but anyway, what I'm saying, Chris and I, we just went to the bus game this last week with his wife and my wife.
Yeah.
And we're telling each other, man, it's a blessing to just see the little things, you know? And it's like, I don't know, people take it for granted, man. You know, it's like we talked about this. Christmas is only one day out of the year.
Yeah.
And then we say, okay.
Every day's Christmas, brother.
Well, and then I get to,
Every
okay,
day's
so then you
Thanksgiving.
have Memorial Day, you have Grandfather's Day, you have this. It's like every day now somebody's trying to put a special on it.
Yeah,
Shouldn't just our lives be special?
Every day they are.
Yeah.
I mean, why do we have to put a title on it?
Yeah.
Just get up and give gratitude, right?
Yeah,
Right.
yes, yeah. It's interesting that this is Sharon Edwards. I mean,
Yes.
I
Small world.
got to tell my Sharon Edwards story.
Well, give that shout out because she'll
Hey,
probably watch it.
Hey Sharon, love you. You know, it's I was playing golf. She lives on a golf course in the neighborhood I live in, East Lake, and you know, I was going through some tough times, and she was very, very impactful to me. And whenever I see her, she goes, "Your angels all around you, Dave.
Yeah.
Your angels are all around you."
That's real.
And you know what she has done. She really lives the life that God wants her to live, and I see it, and you know, she's an inspiration to me.
Oh, yeah, 110%.
In that she, you know, she doesn't just talk it; she lives it,
Yes.
and the proceeds that she gets from what she does in selling
Oh,
the
yeah.
toner. I literally talked to her the other day. I was trying to connect her to one of my networks, and you know, when you see her, she's donating. She's taking, you know, rather than putting it really back in church, she's putting it back into people
Exactly.
who need it,
Yep.
right? Because God ain't broke.
No.
You know,
No,
people are. And in this day and age, she has always just been that person that every time you see her, she is giving all the glory to the Lord.
That's it. And that's what it should be, man.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up here, man. But I just want to say to everybody, hey, man, thank you, Dr. Bill.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Dwayne. Or Dave, yeah, what I get Dwayne. Dwayne's, well, that's right. Rock up, Dwayne's not here tonight.
Yeah, we got to talk. Poor Dwayne's a little ill today. We love him and miss
Yeah,
him.
hey, man, shout out to Dwayne, man. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'm sorry. You gave me the resemblance to look like Dwayne.
I
I'm
kind of
sorry.
look like Dwayne, right?
Well, guys, I just want to say thank you all very much. And hey, guys, we really appreciate being with us. And like I said, look for us in 2025. We're going to have a lot more coming to. We're going to have, like I said, real estate. We're going to have information about all different types of investing in real estate and buying and selling and just learning about it, as well as relationships. So
Subscribe. Let's
yeah,
subscribe.
subscribe,
Come on, we
definitely.
got to subscribe.
Yeah,
Get the
subscribe. Yeah,
get some-
please.